Show live here on Blog Talk Radio. We are live here on the 24th, and yes, it is my birthday. I do turn 36 today. So I'm excited to be here with all of you to do some great free live readings. And I'm just going to be in the process of getting our live stream set up on YouTube and cast and all of that taken care of. So, Veretta, how are you still on the line with us?
I am here.
Okay, great. So, I just wanted to, kind of for a second talk about, some of the amazing things that we can do with this astrology. So, I kind of teased a little bit in the last show that one of the things that we can do is looking at two different people's charts and comparing them and seeing, what things you do and don't have in common. And what's really unique about that is what we do, especially over here, we can read a lot more into the karma and the past lives of it all. And it's really kind of simple. So let me show you some stuff over here. Here we go. So I have my chart up right now, and
Mhm.
this is going to be going on with yours. So here we go. Um, now what I'm looking at specifically is we want to look for soul contacts. So when you're looking at things, like is this person, the one for me? Is this the person that I'm going to settle down with? Those kinds of things. We always look at the meridian node contact or access point
Those
in the
kinds of
chart.
things.
And the reason why is because the meridian is the soul and the node is our connections. So when we look at that, we can tell a lot of information sort of about what's happening between two different people. And it's really quite cool. So let me show you here. We're looking at my chart is on the inside and your chart is on the outside. And you can see that everything's kind
Okay.
of in a lot of different places because we were born in different years. Now, if I'm looking at people that are in my,
Mhm.
that are my peers that are around my age, a lot of that slower moving stuff is going to be very close. So like it's more the personal points of that, like the meridian, the ascendant, that's the location that we're born into, and also the moon,
Mhm.
which deals with the hour of the day. Those contacts are gonna have a lot more significance when you read two charts of people because for example with twins, in Western astrology, like identical twin charts look nearly the same, and then like the novice astrologer is really sort of unable to determine what those differences are between those two very different souls. And in Uranian astrology, we can kind of cut out a lot of the confusion because we use meridian node. That's the meridian, especially because that's the minute that we choose to incarnate into the world. That's the moment of the
Mhm.
first cry. That's when life begins. So when the soul animates, then we look at that in the chart, and that can tell us some really useful details about like what the differences are between these two people. Obviously, we tie in the orb that we use a lot more when we're looking at something that close or identical. But in this particular case, if we look here, I have the red arrow on the meridian node point. So this is going to be our
Mhm.
soul connections, and it's going to be where that green dot is at. And so
Okay.
okay, all right, got it. So you can go ahead and sort of piece out one thing at a time what's all happening between these two charts, but that's sort of a lot of work and is somewhat exhausting, especially if you don't know what you're looking for. So the great thing about
Mhm.
software is that it cuts away all of that. So let's look at Veretta's chart. Exactly what is identical here to my chart, and let's see what we have in common. So when you read this axis point, we're looking at my soul connection to you. What do you bring to the table? That's sort of what we're looking at here. So the first thing that we see, and I'm just kind of jumping around here for the sake of, catching out what's sort of striking, in terms of especially
Mhm.
the astrology. So like Pluto is one of them, and Apollon. If you notice that both of those green squares are the same distance from this arrow that's over here on this side, so those
Mhm.
are all the same. And if we go into our rule book, which I have here for you, we look to see what does that refer to, that Pluto Apollon. So we can see, and this is going to say repetitions, magnify, events taking place for the first time with enormous consequences. A commercial or trade begins on a small scale and growing and expanding successfully into a large business, starting small and to grow
Hmm.
big. A large change from a small staff to huge importance, occurrences with momentous consequences, business enlargement, extension, development of a science, Uranian astrology, far reaching and far expanded changes, growing or extending in all directions. So that's how we read this in what we're doing. Because remember, astrology is a language. So we
Mm-hmm.
can break this all down and, see what this is all trying to say here about, our soul connection. Why do we know each other? And so, like, one of the other things that's really important that worth noting, that we want to talk about right away is you can see that at that red arrow, or I'm sorry, at the green dot here, I'm going to highlight this in blue, with a circle. On your chart, you have the meridian, and then you also have Cupido, and you have Mercury. So the meridian is the soul. So when I say that, you and I come from the same soul family, at the moment of
Mm-hmm.
incarnation, like because we have both of those M's so close together, we really are from the same family. It's further supported by the fact that we've got this Cupido and this blue circle up here. So that's going to be our family. So literally soul family is happening at this, in these blue circles here. And if we go into sort of what that refers to, if we look at like Mercury Cupido, which is those two planets that are on the arrow, thinking of the family, marriage intentions, artistic taste, artistic consideration, speech, music, social conservation, and creative hands. So we share that in common, and like these are all major themes that we share with each other, with you and I. This is what brings us
Excellent.
together. So whenever we do a relationship analysis, or at least what I do in my work, this is always something that I'm going to look at is what are the meridian node contacts? Why are these two people being brought together, and what is it that they're supposed to work out? Because at least for me, I know my life is excruciatingly karmic, and I need to resolve whatever karma that I can in the most efficient way possible, so I don't have to come back and repeat all of these same mistakes that I did in the past. And in order for me to do that, that tells me as the astrologer, all right, so how can I raise people to their absolute highest vibrations so we maximize the potential of this chart? And like you and me, Veretta, we're going places. It's written all over the place, and I could break that, go through each and every single one of these. And it's going to be big what you and I are going to do. So it's very exciting. And we'll have to talk about this more offline, so I can just give you more of a tour of what we're doing here.
That sounds wonderful. It is very exciting. And the fact that the science backs up kind of what we already feel and
Mm-hmm.
intuitively know, that's the excellent part about, the fact that we understand intrinsically what it is we're doing and what it's all about. So it's a wonderful thing that you can show here based on the science, what it is that we can be creating or how far it can go. And
And
then that does.
what's funny is that the Germans, when they were developing this work, it's believed that Witt, when he came up with the concept of Uranian astrology, and after surveying tens of thousands of charts and finding out what's in common scientifically, what happens, and all of that, it's believed that the work was channeled. And as they got deeper and deeper into this, and proving the work, um, the Germans were really sort of, they have that very stoic kind of culture. And they were all about,
Mm-hmm.
we're only doing this to disprove the theory of God. And what they ended up finding out was that God is actually very real, and they were very scared. So there is a deeply
Yeah.
spiritual component of what we do in Uranian astrology. And I'll even be honest with you, like half of the reason why I decided to become an astrologer is because I just I wanted to I kind of want to prove it wrong and say, this is just a whole lot of crap that isn't true. It's pseudoscience, whatever. But as it's really opened my eyes, I'm beginning to learn this is kind of terrifying that it's all written out like this. And I don't fixate on that concept too much or get too lost in the idea that, this is definitely going to happen, because I'm still a fan of the human experience. And that sense of surprise is always great. I mean, let's be honest. Everybody hates that person who spoils the end of the movie. I'm not going to do that for you, because, that's just not being nice. And that because you have to wait an entire lifetime before you get that surprise again.
Right. And it not only is it not nice, it's not our right, and it's not our responsibility. There is that component to free will, and we do need to back up off feeling like whatever we say is the way it has to be, and that totally negates the human experience from a personal level. So, it is right that you don't cram down people's throat that this is golden and nothing else stands in its way. Because the reality of it is, and we've talked about this before, the fact is that free will is what we're here to express, and ultimately it is our own personal right and responsibility to make those decisions ourselves. And then ultimately, if we come to the understanding that this can only help in a manner that we allow it to, then it can be a tool. Otherwise, we not only is it not only not a stepping stone, it's a crutch. And that's not, we shouldn't count on something else to show us how to live or be exclusively the only thing that we would do, or it's always just a tool. It's just basically that multiple things can relate to that category as a tool, and astrology is most definitely one of them.
Yeah, and like for me, I know when I was, a young and stupid, horny, lovesick 20 something, there were multiple contacts during my college years where I could have had some really terrific love relationships with people, but because my life, my chart was resonating at such a negative level, then you could kind of understand from the free will of my actions and thoughts that those love relationships, they kind of went away. They didn't work out. And so I became very distressed about it. And I spent about 15 years of my life trying to piece together, why am I so broken? And once I finally went full circle, which I've done very recently here, and I started to realize, so it turns out that there's this thing called boundaries, and like these online dating websites, unless if it is exclusively for the purpose of something platonic that leads to something more, then you need to leave it at something casual. I didn't get that. So, that kind of broke me.
Yes.
And then because, we have this whole issue in the society that everything is over sexualized and everything is all about porn and sex, that I am unable to have meaningful relationships or, interactions with people. So when I had these contact points of these people that came into my life that were like, okay, great, you may have a really lovely love relationship here, but, I am so messed up that I can't really see it that way. So when it goes away, then I'm seeing my therapist 3 times a week. Not to mention the fact I
Yeah.
learned a very hard lesson that, don't see a psychic that's not very good who you pay to tell you what you want to hear, and then regurgitate all of that information to the person that you think you like, because that's going to get them running in the other direction. That's
You
something that I
betcha.
had to figure out the hard way. I've done it twice. I'm not going to do it again a third time. Again, when I meet somebody, I'm going to know right away through their chart, but I'm not going to spoil the end of the movie because that's just not kind.
Right. Right. Exactly.
So we're going to get off to our callers here. We looks like we have a few people in queue. I'm going to get off to caller number 914. And before I do that, if you'd like to jump to the front of the line, don't forget you can always go to paypal.me/Uranus happens. Leave us a donation of $5, and that'll get you cut to the front of the line. And otherwise, we'll just go in the order received. And here we are with area code 914. Hi, you're on the Uranus Happens show. May I have your name and date of birth?
Hi, my name is Maria. I call from New York. My birthday is May 15, 1942.
May 15th, 1942. I'm sorry, what was your name again?
Maria,
Okay, all right.
my birthday is May 1942. Just a day my birthday.
At what time?
Still, I don't know. Maybe it was in the Africa. I born in Italy.
So you don't know your birth time.
I don't
Different
know.
time.
The time, yeah.
Okay, so I
was in
can
the
work with this,
Africa.
but there's a lot of areas that I'm going to I can't cover because they concern the minute that you were born. But let's see what we can do. And you said you were born in Italy?
Yes, listen.
Where were you born in Italy?
Provincia Palermo, Termini Merese.
How do you spell that?
Palermo.
Oh, Palermo, okay.
Palermo.
Yes.
Got it. Okay, perfect. All right, go ahead, Veretta.
I
All right,
got,
Maria. Did
Oh,
you
I'm
have a
sorry.
question today?
Yeah.
yes, please. I got a question. I waited for settlement to my husband, and my husband had passed away. And they got to give me money. I know they're going to be a biggie, so I can buy property in Italy. But what else? I'm going to travel this year. Because my daughters are going to go in Italy this year. So you can do that, please.
Well, it looks like, and your husband, what's your husband's name?
My husband? Right.
Yes, what's his name? All right, there is room. I do see a possible purchase for land in Italy. I do see that, Maria, but there are going to be steps you have to take and things you have to do to not only find that place appropriately, but secure it. So there'll be a lot of, I would lack for a better word, hate to say, but red tape that you will need to go through. But yes, it is absolutely possible that you can purchase property in Italy.
Yes.
Now, if you have help from someone, there seems to be, if you have cooperation, there seems to be a little bit of room for that to be a little easier for you. But the fact is it's going to take some time. It's not going to be kind of right away. Again, and that may have to do with the things that it will take. It might be a little bit of a struggle, but if you find the right place or the right piece of property, you can secure it. It'll just be a little bit of work on someone else's part. It feels to me that maybe either someone that actually knows the law about real estate, maybe even a property attorney, a real estate attorney. But if you have help from that type of individual, that's what will make it easier.
I got my cousin.
His cousin, do they know the law? The law of real estate or the law in Italy about that?
She's a lawyer, and the husband is an aqueduct.
Perfect. So it looks like it will be something that can be done, and you will be able to have that property. Now, Ernie, can you maybe give her some light on how long that's going to take? I know you're dealing with a large gap of time, but is it possible to do that?
Yeah, I mean, we don't know the birth time, so that's something that I really sort of need to know to be able to objectively evaluate that type of a question. So, what I'm doing here for you instead is I'm looking at what we do know, which is, about the quality of Maria. Just to be clear, your question about Italy and property is your ultimate goal to move back to Italy?
Maybe, why not?
It's for someone else, I believe, that she's securing it for, but I believe also that there is a chance that she thought she could retire back there.
Okay, yeah, because
it's not going to be our primary source.
Yeah, I'm looking at, the chart in terms of what the heck is going on. All of my positions are weird and messed up.
I want to buy vacation home. Vacation home near the water over there. It's beautiful.
Yeah.
Okay, so here, I don't know why that's so odd. All right, there we go. Perfect. So when I take a look sort of at what's happening with you in terms of, this property, I think I think, the first thing is that, wow, that all moved around a lot. The thing that I want to tell you is the best property you're gonna find is gonna be trashy, junky, not great. It needs a lot of work, and you're gonna find a good price on it. But just be aware that whatever you do buy is gonna take a lot of tender, loving care, and I do think that you will put the time into it, but it's just don't go for whatever it is that you think that you want to get to buy. That's not what you're getting. It's going to be something that's probably a few steps down from that, but if you do the work, it's going to be above and beyond what you're expecting. I see that the biggest barrier is going to be the price. And especially, I don't know what the real estate market is like over there, but over here it's not great. So, you know, uh, for my only advice to you about buying property would be that look for like bank owned things that are in foreclosure, things that people have maybe abandoned. That's going to be where you're going to find more of what you're looking for, rather than buying something that's new and fancy. Is this making sense to you?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. So I mean that would be my advice to you is just look for something that needs work, and if you have to even maybe hire some help, like hire a couple of guys to come in and do some major renovation or lifting or demolition or whatever it is, then do
Right.
that. That's going to be where you're going to offset the price a little bit, but I think that the question about real estate is um, it's just going to be that you need to look for things that are not so new, and that is going to be more of what you would consider a bargain, but it's pretty damaged overall.
I see. You see me, I'm going to go to see this is some my daughter over there for vacation.
Not necessarily. Um, it's going to be sight unseen.
Right. Yeah.
My
It'll.
finances, they yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry. What was that again? Cut out.
No, I said, you see me, I'm going to go for vacation about August to September. Me and my daughter and my finances, they're going to be okay.
August
Not not necessarily. Yeah.
To go.
Yeah. Yeah. I
Um,
don't think so either. I feel like that there's going to be something that'll get in the way. And if you do buy property, like Verita said, it will be sight unseen. So just make sure that you have like somebody who's helping you with the whole process of really scouring the internet and showing you every single photo and listing that you can possibly find. You're going to need some help in that regard, to have someone who's going to step in there to do some of that work, since you can't do
Yeah,
it in
no,
person.
I got it. I got it else over there.
and the trip, Maria, I don't think it's going to be August or September. You may be able to do it next year, but not this year.
No.
Yes, I
Not
agree
this
with that.
year.
Yeah, it's not going to be right now. It'll be next year.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, great. Well, thanks for
Thank
calling in, and
you.
we'll catch up with you
God
soon.
bless you. Thank you very, very much.
God bless you, Maria. Blessings, many
Okay.
blessings, Maria.
Until
Thank
next
you.
time.
You too. Bye.
Bye. Okay. All right. So we're gonna go off to Tamika. She came back to us from our show a few times ago, I think. Tamika, hi. Are you on the line with us?
Yeah, hi. I'm
Hey,
on the
how are
line.
you?
I'm okay.
Okay, I don't have your data
Um,
here, so I'm gonna need that one again. And you were born in Kingston, uh, Jamaica, right?
right. And my date of birth is 9378.
9378. Okay.
Um, and I went through a surgical procedure on
I'm sorry.
Friday, and I
What
just
time were
wanted
you
to
born
know.
again?
Don't know the exact time. I was always told I was born sometime in the morning.
Okay. All right. So we'll go with that. Perfect. All right. Now, you're what do you have would you like a general reading, or do you have a specific question about an issue?
I have a question.
Okay. All right. What is that? Go ahead.
Go ahead.
On Friday, I went through a surgical procedure, and I just wanted to know how you saw it going, if I'll ever have to go through something like that again. If it went well, if it went not well, if you see it being able to help me have children in the future or not. But just overall, if you see me ever having to go through something like that again, and how you see my body dealing with it, how it'll go for me. Because
Okay.
I'm still getting over it.
Yeah, you sound that way. Do me a favor, Tamika, take a breath, and as you exhale, think of the bottom of your feet. Do it again and just be a little more comfortable now. Okay, so, whatever it was that you had done, it's pretty profound, and I feel like it is something that is going to need some time to heal from. Yes, it was a success in the fact that there was nothing that was done that would linger in a negative manner. However, when you ask about children, that's a different story. Also, there may be something else, not this procedure, but there may be something else that needs to take place at some point in time in the future. It's far, far from now. It has nothing probably even related to the procedure you had on Friday, but it's in the same place or around the same area. Now, when I bubble this procedure up, first of all, let me just tell you, it's going to take a little while now. If I didn't just say that, it's going to take a little while now to heal. So don't feel like you should bounce right back. And if they told you you're going to bounce right back, don't hear them say that. You need to take this time for whatever this is for your body to rebound, because it went through an ordeal. Whatever this was that you had done, even though it may have been a simple procedure or a procedure other people go through and just glide through with, speed, that's not going to be the way it affects you. So right now, stay off your feet, do what you have to rest and let your body heal. Okay, so when I bubble that up and I bring in the opportunity of fertility and having children, I'm told yes, but not necessarily the way you may want it to be. So don't hear me say no, just hear me say that yes, you did open up the possibility. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
Ernie, can you shed some more light on that?
Sure, yeah. So Tamika, I'm taking a look at this one here for you. Now, if you're watching our YouTube stream here in Rules for Planetary Pictures, which is the guidebook that we use for everything, I typed in the word surgery to see where we're at, and first thing I came up with Mars, Uranus, Mercury. That was the first one, and then you have equals Jupiter, a successful surgery. So that that's kind of what we want to have, is a successful surgery. So if we go back to your chart, Mars, Uranus, Mercury, and Jupiter. Those are the 4 planets that we want to look for. So if we're taking a look at this, then look at when you highlight this on the green arrow, which is the midpoint of Mars Uranus, which is a surgery midpoint. We have your natal Mercury that shows up on that green square, and your natal Jupiter that shows up on the other green square on the left. Now, if we look further into that second ring, you have Mercury up there, and I'm not seeing the Jupiter's kind of close-ish. So we'll highlight this one here. So you have Mercury, Jupiter that's showing up where it's supposed to, but what's really significant is the fact that you have a Pluto that's showing up on the arrow on the left, coming onto that natal Jupiter. So what that refers to is that there was a change, that this surgery caused a change, and the change, we would expect it to be successful because those Jupiters show up on the arrows here, and you have 2 of them. And then you also have this third one that's going to be approaching here pretty soon in the next, I want to say, like month or so. So if you're going to be doing a third procedure, do you have another one coming up soon?
No, I was hoping I don't have to go through anything again at all, but I don't know if anything coming up soon.
You may want to, and you can definitely sign up for our Spirit Circle next month. And we can dig into that issue a little bit deeper, but your chart would suggest to me that you would actually benefit from doing an additional procedure, or if it's some type of like acupuncture or some other issue, some other treatment that's fertility related. I think you would really benefit from that, because that Jupiter up there in this third ring, I'll highlight this here in orange. This is out in the sky. This is what's happening right now out in space. So as that planet begins to move further and it approaches this arrow here, And then you have a triple Jupiter pattern that's showing up, then yeah, you're definitely going to be in a time where you would have a successful surgery, and one that would create a positive change for you because of that Pluto. So I really do feel like that you are going to have another one, or if you're not thinking about it, you definitely should, because you would benefit from it.
What
But it
kind of
won't
other one?
be, well, it won't be anything even close to um, as intrusive as what you've already had done. Like you said, possibly acupuncture or companion treatment, um, maybe even a little laser or something, where it's just an in and out kind of thing, and you're really not even down for any length of time. It's not.
Mhm.
It's not even close to what you've just gone through, but it will
Mm.
be something that you'll need, or like you said, you'll want to have in the future. It
Mm.
seems ultimately that you've affected the outcome in a positive manner. It's just there's a couple more steps you're gonna have to go through.
Mhm. Mm.
Okay, but
Tamika,
Mhm.
take
hey, the
care of
last
self
time we
now.
talked, you were like really seriously burnt out from everything. Did you ever go on that vacation you talked about?
No, I didn't. After this, my mom. This is another reason why I feel like people are not letting me heal the way I need to after something like this. My mom wants to travel to Florida soon to find a new house because she wants to sell this one. So people want me to get better so I could travel with her, which I get, but I'm not in any shape, especially after something like this, to go traveling soon. But like she wants us to go like June 9th, and I don't think I'm gonna be
No,
ready to do no
No,
traveling like June
absolutely
9th
not
not.
or
even a little
anything.
bit.
So
Not
No,
even
not
close.
even a little bit.
I
Yeah,
know.
basically, Tamika, I know that your mom's really hell bent on June 9th and that you guys are going to go and do all this stuff. But remember, this is the Uranus Happen Show where nobody's in charge. We do serve a higher authority, number one. And number two, I think you personally, you're going to basically just give her like the figurative bird. You're just going to be like, I'm sorry, mom, I love you, but I cannot do this right now. Like, this is all just too much for me. And
Hmm.
you're going to come to a breaking point here pretty soon. So I would really like to see you, like taking some breaks, figuring out something to do for Tamika time, whatever that may look like. That needs to happen. And a vacation to, a work slash vacation trip to Florida, that's not really going to solve it. It's like you still need to do something for yourself because especially after what you just did on Friday, that was a lot. That was pretty major.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
you're not really in good spirits to be around company in a way that's not going to be explosive, and you just telling everybody to go screw themselves because you've had it.
Right, right. Don't
Yeah.
burn those bridges.
Seriously.
And you're looking at 6 weeks, hon. Your body feels to me like it's going to need about 6 weeks before you're back on top of your game where your
Mhm.
energy is concerned.
Mhm. I believe it.
So,
Like today they took because on the paper the doctor's instructions are like, okay, by day 3 you can take the bandage off your belly button because that's one of the major places they had to go in through to do the surgery. So they're like you could take the bandage off. And I'm like, I don't want to take this bandage off yet. I don't feel right taking it off yet. It's like they had to reapply it in the hospital before I even left because there's a lot of blood. I don't feel right taking this bandage off yet. My mother's like, oh, no, you can take it off. It says on the paper. And my sister's on the phone. She's an RN. No, you can take it off. It says on the paper. They wouldn't stop till they made me take a shower today and they took it off. And now I don't feel good about the fact that it's off now. Like, I want to
yeah.
kind of put one back on. Like, I know you're supposed to heal to let air hit it, but I don't feel good about stuff like that. Like, before I'm
You
ready,
listen to
I
your
know.
intuition. You listen to your intuition, Tamika. You know your body. They don't. They don't. There's just that. Okay, so listen to your intuition. Listen to the two psychics that are telling you what we're picking up corresponds with the way you feel. So it's going to be you that has to battle this. But stand your ground, honey. Take care of yourself.
Hmm. Yeah.
And remember,
Okay.
we have a new event that's starting that since I came back and Beretta's now with our show, and this is going to be, let's see here, that'll be on the 22nd of June. We're going to be doing our Spirit Circle. That's going to be like a 3 hour private personal workshop where you can ask some questions and we can really start to dig deeper into your issues. So if you want to talk about the fertility and maybe when might I have a child, those kinds of questions, we can get into a lot of that. And you can learn more on my website at eastrologer.tv. That's a redirect to our show page here, and that'll give you all the info.
Mhm. Mhm.
All right, love.
Okay.
You take care and God bless.
Yeah, take care, and
Thank
we'll
you.
catch up with you soon. Take care and good night.
Mhm.
Okay, so I just wanted to say hi to our subscribers, Bryn and Dion. It's been a while since you've been with us, but just saying hey, thanks for coming back. We hope to catch up with you soon. We're going to get off to our next caller here from area code 312. Hi, you're on the Uranus Happen Show. May I have your name and date of birth?
Hi, my name is Brian.
Brian, okay. All right, and what's your date of birth?
January 8th, 1980.
Didn't we read you recently?
Yes.
Okay, all right, great. That's what I thought. And what time were you born again?
8:56 a.m.
8:56. All right. And where were you born?
In Detroit, Michigan.
Detroit, Michigan. All right. And do you have a specific question or you just want a general reading?
Specific question about my finances. Do you see any improvement coming?
Okay. I want to say yes. I'm not going to want to say yes. I'm going to say yes. However, but if, maybe, there's some steps and actions you have to take to get there. And it feels to me like there may be a little bit of a conservative tone to those steps and actions. However, I think that ultimately what I'm seeing happen is the harder or the more you work, the better it'll be. And that's really the short answer right there. It'll be what you make of it. So if you're worried that you're putting time into something that isn't going to pay off, or what you're putting time into really isn't for you, I would say, yeah, it is. Because it's, once you're into it and settled down enough to know that you can't do anything but succeed, then every bit of time you're putting into it is gold, Brian. So hang in there. Now, again, remember the overtone of conservative. That does not mean go out and be the big guy that shows everybody what you're made of or how much money you're making. You really kind of got to hang on tight to it for a little while. But ultimately, you'll have enough to share, you'll have enough to show, and you really, for lack of a better way of putting it, you'll really be proud of yourself because you really did make something of what you set out to do. And people are going to see that you're successful.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay, Ernie?
Yeah, so Brian, just taking a look at this. So this is how Uranian astrology works. This was actually really nice. So I'm gonna, if you're watching our live stream here on YouTube, what you can see is not this one here, over there. I typed in the question windfall. Like this is usually the question that I ask when people want to know about sudden upturns or upticks in finances. And so when we type in the word windfall, what we show up here is Jupiter equals Uranus. So what we do is we take your natal Jupiter and your directed Jupiter. So that's the Jupiter from the first two rings of information here on the screen here. And we look at that, and then we take the midpoint of that, and we find out where is this falling in your life, and we see, does this line up to Uranus? So that's the big question that we have here. And that was at 4629, if you do that math and add those numbers together. Now let's see here. Is it going to do it for me? Yes. Okay, so on this arrow here, and let me just highlight the squares or the items that we're looking at in question, so that way you understand, because this is kind of like this is imminent. This is really close to happening for you. So we see here that you got Jupiter in your first ring, Jupiter in your second ring, and then if you look at your third ring, then what do you have? Uranus. It's right down there. So when this Uranus moves, to be exact, with this arrow here, then you're going to have some good luck that you weren't expecting. So I'm just going to kind of break this axis point down to see what's happening here. What's triggering this out in the sky. And I want to say that this would be like something related to possibly either gambling, like you have, like you buy a scratch ticket and then, you win like a big prize that's really nice, or, a bonus at your job or work. Or, this could even be related to somebody else, and, like they come into some money, and then you're part of that also. So it's like, maybe there's a lottery pool, or, like somebody just says, hey, you know what? I had this money. Do you want to go out and, have some fun or whatever? But when that Uranus moves down there on that red or on that green arrow here that I marked, then you are going to have some good luck when it comes to finances. And then that's a windfall. So that's relatively coming close. And if we look at that 46.29, and this is at 45.55, let me go back here. We can see, this is what's so cool about what we do in Uranian astrology. We can actually find the date when it's going to be here. So we're looking for 46.29. So that will be at 16 degrees and 29 minutes of a fixed sign. And what we see here is 16. Here we are in May. And then in June, so this would be like, what was your 1629? So this would be like around June 4th that you would have a windfall, assuming that your birth time is in fact accurate, and depending on other factors that I have yet to confirm because we don't have that kind of time on a live show. But yeah, you're gonna come into some money here pretty soon, and please come back to us and, sign up for our spirit circle. Leave us a big generous tip because we're amazing. Don't forget about us here. So,
most definitely.
Yeah, you heard it here first.
All right. Thank you so much.
All right.
You're welcome, Brian. Take care.
Take care and good night.
You too now.
Okay. All right. So we are going to get off to Bryn. We have not heard from him in forever. Bryn, hi. Are you on the line here with us?
Oh, hi everybody. This is Bryn from New York City. My birthday is
just a second.
July 3rd. Sorry.
Okay. July 3rd.
Okay. Yeah, July 3rd, 1956, 7:10 p.m., Bridgeport, Connecticut, United States.
That was 7:10 p.m.
And I just want to 7:10 p.m., Bridgeport, Connecticut. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Got it. And what, you had a general question, or you have a specific one?
Yeah, general, what's going on, where I'm heading or whatever.
Okay.
Okay. All right. Well, let's see.
Bryn, be sure to unmute your sound because we can kind of hear a feedback loop. If you're watching our live cast, just be sure to mute your YouTube, and then we won't get that anymore.
No, I'm not watching it. Nope. Can't see that.
No problem. All right, Bryn. I want to say a lot of what I feel for you right now, there's a tremendous amount of what I just call status quo. I feel like you're going to continue on with what you're doing. There's really not a lot of change coming. There may be some perks along the way where you can branch out and see some some eye-popping, extraordinary things happen. But those are the things that happen like if you don't blink and you're paying attention to what's around you. But I feel like you're going to go I guess I would say I feel like you're going to maybe go the distance, and depending upon what that means to you, you can term it a success. I feel like you have a lot of opportunity. I feel like you have a lot of creativity, and the reality of it is when you let it flow, great things happen. But I think also sometimes you don't always have the motivation or the inspiration to create like you want and or get the results from what you're doing, and so therefore you don't apply it all that often, or you don't apply it where it could go. And I feel like if you change the perception on what you do or where you do it or how you do it ever so slightly, You might get a little bit more than just status quo. If that's good for you, though, hang in there with that. I feel like it's, you're a diamond in the making. It's not a prerequisite in this life for you. However, if you got a little pat on the back once in a while, you'd be happy. But that merit means that you have to do a little extracurricular activity. So I feel like you've got a good life. I feel like, it may not be golden, or to you, there may be more that could be had. And I see that that's absolute. I agree. Absolutely, you could find more if you wanted. So if status quo is good, hang in there. And if you want a little bit more wow, do a little bit more outside of the box something, and you'll bring, even if it's not something that you would expect that would get you anywhere, or you visit somebody and it's their day and all of a sudden you end up having to show that you actually know more than they do in whatever event they're taking place on. And people step up and say, wow, you're great, you're awesome. And you had no idea that was going to take place. So I'm just saying, try a little bit of something you're not used to. You'll be surprised in the response you get. Ernest, can you give us some more on that?
Sure, Bryn. Hey, so like the last time we spoke, it's been a while, I remember. Weren't you involved with like chasing some older female who was like not into you or in a relationship, or she was a coworker and there was all kinds of red tape or something like that?
No, not really. I'm not sensing that. I'm not remembering that. Just chasing an older female.
I thought when Caitlin was on the air, when she was my co-host, that you guys talked about some relationship that had like all kinds of red tape that you were trying to get yourself into because it was exciting and it was fun. But anyway, that's old news. So looking here at your chart, for all of our YouTube viewers, you can see these two pink arrows that I've drawn on the chart here. These are identical to each other, like they're the same distance from each other. So all of the stuff is being activated out in the sky. Now, as far as, specifically which planets are affecting you, none of them are, because none of them come to any of these four arrows, all of those symbols that you see here. The Zeus is kind of sort of close, so this is going to trigger some stuff. So there's going to be like a lot of anger and aggression, but also just like massive creativity that can really take you places. If you want to do the work. And I always tell people, are you going to do the work, or you just remember Mario never saved the princess by sitting on his ass at home. And for you, I feel like that there's some nice successes that are coming your way. Jupiter just hit this point on this red arrow a couple of weeks ago when it was out in the sky. So when that happened, then you would have definitely been feeling, some good positive vibes that were coming to you. This Zeus is right about to hit that right there. So when that touches there, then that's also going to bring you some creative energy. That planet takes about over 400 years to orbit the sun, so it can take a while. But point of what I'm getting at here is that my mantra to your personal mantra should be go pro or go home. Whatever it is that you're thinking about, dipping your feet into, give it your everything and be damn good at it. Make sure that you're not just the same soulless hack like everybody else out there trying to hustle a quick buck, because it's not going to get you very far if you try to find the shortcut. Like getting deep with it. And I do believe that whatever it is that you get yourself into, that this is also going to, create a move for you, a change of residence. And I would venture to say that it's going to have something to do along the lines of communication or talking to people in some way.
I do readings. I do readings for people. I've been fairly good at just practicing animal communication. I do artwork. I'm trying to learn more about the human face, how to draw the human face, because I feel there's something to do in terms of creativity, doing my artwork or doing kind of psychic art. I've done some art in the past, but it's been kind of dry lately, speaking of inspiration. But I think my problem is I have to hone in on something because I have a lot of interests, in the metaphysical and arts area. And the two things I want to focus on, I believe, are my artwork and animal communication at this point. And maybe to divide my time between those two to perfect those areas anyway.
Well, so Bryn, basically,
Yeah.
if you combine the two, what you'll have is awesome, because people do pay top dollar for spirit drawing. So this is what I would say to you: forget
Yeah.
the human face. Start drawing
Okay.
past pets. All right, start
Okay.
drawing what you're channeling when you're communicating with pets.
Okay.
And that's what will get you notoriety. There's a lot of spirit drawings. There's a lot of folks that communicate to animals. There's not a lot of
Right.
folks that'll draw or are capable of channeling pets. So you might look at hanging a shingle for that and see what it brings you.
Mhm. You mean pets that have been deceased or pets that are still around?
I would say when you're communicating with an animal, just draw what
Yeah.
comes to you. That could be a
Yeah.
pet that's already passed. It could be something that they want to convey that's very important to the owner.
Right.
Just let
Could be a
let
symbol
yourself.
or something, like a symbol
Exactly.
from the
It
yeah,
absolutely
anything.
could.
Okay.
And that is worth a weight of gold to people that are wanting something like that.
Yeah, and don't
Yeah.
forget,
So
Bryn.
I'm glad I
definitely looks
met-
like you got an opportunity.
Yeah,
I'm
Bryn,
glad I
don't,
mentioned it because I wouldn't have gotten that comment from you.
Bryn, don't forget that people are sluts when it comes to their pets, and that they will open up their wallets
Right.
because like that's just the way our
Absolutely.
culture is. So if you do some type of like hybridization of like automatic drawing while you're doing some type of like psychic mediumship pet work, like and you want to,
Right.
you can charge what you want to charge basically at that point because
Yep.
nobody else is doing that.
Right.
And like I said, remember, go pro or go home, and be damn good at it
Yeah.
because people, they're gonna eat it up.
Yep.
Okay. Well, okay.
Good
Thank
luck.
you for your time. I appreciate it very much.
Blessings,
Thank you.
blessings, Bryn.
Yeah,
Take care, and
blessings
until
to
next
both
time.
of you. Take care. Bye. Yeah.
Okay, so we are gonna get off to Dion here. He doesn't have his hand up, but I'm gonna see if he has anything to say. Dion, are you there on the line with us?
Hi, I don't remember calling in your show except for the last time, but I didn't get a reading or anything. I just was listening on the YouTube.
Oh, okay, all right. No, you called our show. Let me take a look. That would
When
have
did I
been.
call?
It was on July 7th of 2020. So it's been a long time.
Oh wow.
So anyway, we have
Well,
you
your
on the
number
line here.
called.
And I have my stuff up. So can I have your date of birth here? I don't have your data anymore. I had some loss over the past few months.
Okay, it's December 5th, 1973,
At what time?
1:21 a.m.
And where were you born?
Oak Lawn, Illinois.
Oak Lawn, Illinois. Okay. Got it. And do you have a specific question or do you just want a general reading?
Finances. When
Okay.
will I see an improvement in my finances?
Perfect. All right. Got it.
Unless you don't pick up on that, whatever.
Okay, well, take a minute. And let's see. All right, so finances. So I see there are down times, I see there are good times, I see there are times when you are just really lean. So unfortunately, I don't see a lot of change in that behavior where your finances are concerned. But I do see there will be times where you're a lot better than you are right now. So it isn't something that won't improve. It just isn't something that will entirely stay that way unconditionally. It's like, I don't know, it feels to me like, occasionally you get a little work or you get a side gig or you get a little something that brings in a little bit more, and then you're back to whatever the regular routine would be. I do see there'll be a time at some point in the future where you will get a lump sum of money. But again, that's not going to be something probably that you retire on or even should retire on, but it definitely is coming. And it won't be something you've got to put a lot of effort into, or it literally kind of would be, you'd expect it, but you just have to wait for it, or it'll be handed to you, but you again, you have to wait for it. It's not on your terms as to when. And that to me represents sometimes an inheritance, or like Ernesto really references windfalls. But I'm feeling like a substantial amount of your money is just what you get on a regular basis. And like I said, then you do get a little bit of perk in between the lines sometimes. Although Ernesto will be able to give you a lot more probably detail in that. And
Yes,
if
and I
you're
would love
ready,
to. I have this here. So I pulled up your chart here, Dion, about the question of the power of finances and how this is affecting you right now. So if we look at this green arrow here on your chart, what we can see then is, like the first things that are immediately noticeable is you have Saturn, you have Jupiter, you have Mars, you have Uranus on this side, and you you've also got this Aries point, and so this would suggest to me that, like you are the thing that's crushing your personal finances has to do with the cost of living, the roof over your head specifically, that's the biggest problem that you have. Would you agree with that?
100%.
Yeah, and just looking at this, without doing anything else, it would require further analysis for me to say for sure. And I can definitely get into this with you in a spirit circle next month with you. But this would suggest to me that like you're going to be thinking about moving here pretty soon, and it's going to be to a location that's not going to devastate your personal finances, because that's the real damper on everything. Is that I understand that rents are just too much everywhere in the country, in the world for that matter. But specifically where you're at, like they are charging way too much for what you're in, number one, and number two, for what it's worth, and that's and that's causing some quality of life issues that are pretty distressing, and they're unwanted at that. So I feel like that getting the heck out of Dodge where you're at right now, that would be the number one thing that you could do for yourself, and then possibly even a career change to go along with that.
Okay. I appreciate all of that information, and I'm going to take that into consideration. And I do agree that where I live is expensive, and 100% have been working on changing careers so I can get more money, because it is the cost of living, and I'm afraid that I'm not going to make it no matter how hard I try, and it's very depressing.
I feel like that you specifically would benefit from, this is probably totally against the way that you're wired as a person, but you would benefit from a situation where you have multiple roommates, like you in a group of people decide to get together and rent like a multifamily home, not just like a 3-bedroom place, like some place for many people. That's going to be where the magic happens. And it's not just the fact that, obviously that rent goes down when you split it amongst more people, not just that, because that's obvious, right? I feel like that there's somebody in your environment that you would move to, if let's say that it's a boarding house type situation, and you have multiple tenants living in like this giant place with like 20 rooms or whatever, that you would come into contact with somebody who's going to have some piece of information that you did not have before, and that's going to have some pretty significant impact on your career, and that'll push you into the direction that you need to go. So I feel like that there's a connection that you have not made quite yet, and it could also just be that you don't have the information for this, but it's going to be related to moving. So getting yourself into a different environment would be wise.
Okay, I'll work on that right away. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks so much. Take care, and we'll catch up with you soon.
Okay, bye.
Bye. All right, so it was a shorter program for today, because it's my birthday, and I just wanted to spend some time doing the things that I really enjoy. But it looks like we've cleared out the call queue for tonight. I do want to thank everybody for joining me here, so I'm going to cut it short. Thanks so much. It's for letting me practice my social skills with you. They're trash to begin with, but it does get better with time. And as always, it's been real. This was the Uranus Happen Show. We will be back with you guys on Sunday morning from 9 to 11 for our usual 2-hour block. And if you enjoyed your reading with us here on the air, be sure to go over to eastrologer.tv and leave us a review using the feedback form at the bottom of the page. That'll get you entered into the raffle for a drawing for a free Spirit Circle admission pass when we have our event next month on the 22nd. Well, Veretta, as always, it was a pleasure and it was amazing. Thanks so much for joining me here on the show, and we'll be back with you guys on Sunday.
Bye bye now, and happy birthday, Ernesto. Have
Yep.
a great day.
Thanks so much. Take care, you guys. Until next time. Good luck and Godspeed.